Previously.
And sin was in the world before the Mosaic law.
God is calling the wicked heart that we all have a disease. Come on.
Like super gonorrhea? Not knowing it. No, I'm going to give you a law, and you have to choose whether that law is going to bring forth fruit.
Yeah, if you don't make that choice to change your wicked heart, what's going to happen? God's law is going to fade away, and you're going to remain with that wicked heart. All right, so we understand the seed is the word of God. Whenever you plant that seed, whatever seed is planted, that's what's going to grow.
You know, when we read some of these scriptures, the seeds are being thrown out, and it determines on the soil that's picking up and getting the understanding of what they mean. It makes it very, very hard to see certain soil that you want to be good, but it just chooses not.
Now the Lord has to do what? Cut off access to the tree of life, because why? You wicked.
You make that changes through those experiences that you got to, or those consequences.
You gotta go through those experiences. Why? Because anyone could say, yeah, I fully trust in God. No, you don't know that until you put in that situation that's going to test you.
Right. Verse 11. Now the parable is this. The seed is the word of God.
So the seed is the word of God. So a lot of times in the Bible now, you got to start wondering, are they talking about the actual seed? Are they talking about the word of God? Are they talking about both?
Some watermelons? What is it talking about?
Could be talking about both. So now you start seeing the Bible a little differently. All the time they're using seed like this. Like when it's saying Abraham's seed, it's talking about child, but it's all talking about Abraham's seed is God's seed.
There you go.
And if you're God's seed, then you've been planted by the word of God.
Perfect.
All
Verse
right.
12. Those by the wayside are they that hear. Then cometh the devil and taketh away the word out of their hearts, lest they should believe and be saved.
So the first soil is when it earlier talked about the soil. And now he's telling you the explanation of that soil. This type of soil means that they heard the word by the wayside, but earlier it said that the birds came by, but it's actually talking about what? The devil. The devil came away and took away the seed that was planted. And did what? Dropped his own seed.
Ooh. And some poop with it. And some poop with it. Hey, for real. Let's be real. Let's open this thing up. For real. The devil comes by. I'm sorry, I didn't jump in
The
there.
bird. He's the bird. Yeah, the bird come by.
He see the seed down there. He like, man, that's some good soil. I got to take this thing away.
Yeah,
that seed, it can't plant that tree. I'm going to come and eat this word so that this good soil can't get it. And I'm going to exchange it for some bird poop. All of the madness that I got, I'm just going to leave right on you. And then that good soil becomes what that the bird just left.
Yeah.
A piece of dung.
And then you go to the scriptures and understand it, talking about here, the first soil is the person heard it with no understanding. The second person had understanding. The first one, they just hearing it. They ain't having the understanding what they heard, because why? Satan came immediately and took away that word.
Keep in mind, again, when we started this class, the seed is the word of God. The seed is the word of God. You're trying to plant this great seed and sow it into great soil. And immediately that crow comes by and eat it and exchange it for dung. Okay.
And an example you just gave goes back to Adam and Eve.
Yes.
It's him following her more than wanting to follow the Most High. Loving her more than the Lord.
That's it. And in return, what did he get? Dung. And now all of us got to deal with them consequences that y'all didn't want to raise your hand for. We got to accept the dung. We got to. All right. Verse 13. They on the rock are they which, when they hear, receive the word with joy. And these have no root, which for a while believe, and in time of temptation fall away.
So it says on the rock, because if you read the bottom part, it says that these seeds were planted on stony ground. So you know when stones are in the way, nothing can grow.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of tilling a ground, because you're digging up all the rocks, you're getting the soil may be compacted, that water can't get down, the nutrients can't get down. So you're digging those things up. You're getting the weeds out of the way.
Key word, he said, compacted dirt needs to be tilled. Someone has to till the soil so that it can receive. What was Adam's job? To till the ground. Every great prophet in here has to till the ground. Who's the soil? We're the soil. Have to till the ground. That was Adam's mission.
Even yourself, you got to till yourself
the ground
so that you can receive the word. Seeds are very tender. They need water. They need soil so they can have root and stay longevity. If the soil is compacted, full of rocks and all that stuff, full of weeds, what do weeds do? Weeds need the same nutrients that the plant needs. So it's going to take the nutrients. But these things are said for a reason. The Lord is using these words and these parables because why? It's what happens in our real life. And it said here that this type of person, when they hear the word, they receive it. So what? They heard it and they got some understanding. They understood what the word was coming because the devil didn't come by and take the word away. So they understood what was being said. And then it says, and they received it with joy, and they having no root. Why this person didn't have any root? Because they believed, for a while believed, and in time of temptation fall away. So that's what it means for a person that has no root. What temptation is going to make you say, this is more important than God?
This is way more important.
Wow. And we see those temptations all the time. All the time.
So I want to also add, notice in verse 14 how it says,
I ain't got there yet.
13. They on the rock are they which when they hear receive the word. A rock is an elevated state versus just the soil. A rock shows some type of elevation. Yeah, these are people that you can really, really see. They see it. Some of them been searching, but genuinely, are they really, really searching? Because there's a lot of people who like to hear information, but not necessarily apply it. Yeah. As I call them, the smart dummies.
Here it said, here
they got
it. Joy.
They got an infinite information, but they don't follow none of the information that they know. We've known several people like that. You're eager to hear information, but you're not applying any of it.
Here it said received with joy. So it's that, like it says in, I think, Ezekiel 33, where it says it's a lovely song to them.
That's it.
They love to hear it. It sounds real good to me. Like a song. I just want to sit there and just hear it. It sounds so lovely. But to get up and do something about it, I want to do the work part of it. I just love to hear it. It sounds soothing to my spirit.
That's it.
Have no root. So when that temptation comes, when something happens and it's time for you to make that choice, that decision, they go the opposite direction.
Real quick.
And that's why the Lord has to put that in the way, cut off the access to the kingdom of heaven, because, hey, not everybody really want it for the right reason.
You also said something else about weeds. Weeds needs nutrients too.
Yeah.
So keep in mind when you are the soil receiving the word of God, you have a lot of things trying to deteriorate or deter you from really receiving the seed and allowing it to flourish.
That's why I say, hey, try to plant something. And inside is kind of cheating because you don't have all those things that can manipulate that seed inside. Take it outside, plant something outside and see how delicate that seed is and how much you have to take care of it. Like you said, the weeds, and you like, oh my goodness, you got to pick the doggone weeds out. You trying to kill my doggone plant.
Because again, listen to what he just said. This is the representation. He said it's easy when you're planting something in the inside. You ain't got all the other stuff to worry about. But once you take it outside of the protection, outside of the Garden of Eden, oh my God. It has to deal with the climate elements. It got to deal with crows. It got to deal with worms. It got to deal with weeds. It got to deal with bugs. It got to deal with dogs. It got to deal with cats, squirrels. Everything out there is trying its best to tear that seed up.
To eat what you're trying to produce. It's food. They want it.
They trying to kill it. They want it. And you're trying to make sure that it can produce good fruit. That one seed produced good fruit. There's a lot of things that's trying to kill it. Keep in mind, Adam was in the Garden of Eden, tilling the ground, protected. Once he had to get out of that Garden of Eden, oh yeah, guess what happened? Everything, all chaos was around it at that point. It didn't have the same protection. We don't have that same protection, that hegemony around us as our forefather Adam had at one point. So now raise your hand for them consequences. While you're trying to produce good fruit, you're constantly going to be attacked. You're constantly going to be under temptation. You got to stand strong and allow that seed to grow, the word of God.